SB309 is now a landmark law that reaffirms that religious expression in this country knows no bounds. Even behind bars, a person should never lose their First Amendment rights.
Sat Shri Akal, we have Ragini Kaur and Rakab Singh from Jaikara Movement. It's a wonderful organization, non-profit organization that has been advocating for Sikh rights in the United States of America, and I've seen you guys being actively working on several community issues, and today we have had SB309, a wonderful bill that would advocate religious freedom in the United States of America, especially in the state of California, for all the incarcerated people. So tell us a little more about the background work that you've been doing.
Yeah, we've been mainly helping CAD in sponsoring this bill and making sure that it gets passed. We're one of the supporters because you know that it highly affects our community for those who wear the star and keep their case, and for those who are in detention centers. So we're just really hoping to make sure that we do have the expression to practice our religion.
Yeah, and I think it's a very impactful bill. As a model nation, I think it's very important that in the United States, prisoners should not be oppressed. They're also part of society, and they could do a lot of beneficial impact when they come back to society. So practicing religion is something fundamental for citizens and for prisoners as well. And I think we're really setting an example for the rest of the world to give these people rights. Right? They're also citizens. They're first-class citizens, and I think it's very impactful.
Yeah, and the most important part is that not just in the state prisons, but in the local prisons, where till now the private authorities were more of the administrative and governing bodies, and they had their own ways of deciding what the behavioral non-compliance is. So this bill would fix that, and fairly and with consistency across all the prisons and detectional facilities in the state of California, the religious liberty will be granted, and it is believed that this religious liberty will help to overcome the psycho that is in the criminal minds faster, and they would become better individuals by exercising their civil rights and liberty.
You didn't comply. They will give you a verbal warning to start it off. Take off your hat. And if you said, no, I'm not taking off my hat, then they would give you a written warning just so they could start the documentation process against you. Take off your hat, or else you're going to get a CDC 128, which was the written warning. And they gave you a number of days to comply. If you didn't comply with the 128, they would give you a CDC 115, which was a formal write-up that had disciplinary actions attached to it. And you would go in front of a captain, lieutenant, and associate warden, and they would tell you in the hearing, are you going to take off that hat? No, sir, I'm not going to take off my hat. It's my religious right. At that point, they would put you in what's called a behavioral modification program, called C-status, which means that you're locked up 23 hours a day. You get 1 hour of freedom to come out for recreation. You get no phone calls, no visits, no care packages, nothing. The programs that the Senator Cortese was talking about, you cannot get involved in those programs as long as you're on C status. And we endured that for years. For years we endured that. But why did we endure that? Because we saw that religion was the single most transformative, impactful thing in our lives. I personally saw guys that were straight killers, gangsters, come into religion and completely transform their lives and become model men. And then you get this guard come along, take off your hat, shave your beard, and try to deprive you of your religious freedoms. But you know what? The stuff that they were putting us through was not the worst part of it. The worst part of this was that when you finally get a chance to go in front of the parole board after 15 or 20 years, they bring out those write-ups. Sir, he's a behavioral problem. He's been on C status for all these years. Deny him parole. He's not fit to go back to society. So that they would deny you the freedom to see your loved ones, man. when the three strikes law got overturned, and my group that I started in San Quentin was instrumental in getting that law overturned, and I finally got a chance to go in front of the judge to get that 25 to life sentence off of me, the biggest fear that I had was those write-ups. And they brought him up. They weren't shy. Look, Your Honor, look at what he's been doing while he's been in prison. And luckily I had a judge who looked beyond what he saw on paper, and he saw the man that I had become. And he let me go. But that was a huge fear inside me and inside a lot of the other people that are incarcerated. And I just want to say that the person that you see in front of you today, an example of excellence, both in my professional life and in my personal life, is a direct product of the transformation that religion did in my life. Period. And I just want to say that, you know, we should never allow anyone to prohibit the freedom of religion from anyone. And I want to personally thank Senator Cortese for his bravery and his leadership and care for everything that you guys have done to bring this about. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sajjad, for that incredibly powerful message. At this point, I did want to ask if you have any questions from the press. If so, please just state your name and media organization. Are there any questions?
I have.
Yes, go ahead.
So my name is Jasleen Khanuja. I'm from Yo India TV, and I totally welcome this bill. I especially thank Governor Gavin Newsom and yourself, Dave Cortese. You have already, crossed that path where we consider you core white. You understand so much of our communities, what we do, what we feel, how our religions are designed. So I want to applaud you for your understanding and your passion in bringing that forward in terms of passage of such bills like SB309, that who we are and that we are a part of American nationality, we are American citizens. So thank you for this bigger understanding and perspective and the passion that you bring in on such occasions where this is manifested in passage of these bills. So just a big thank you.
Thank you. I'm fortunate to have a very diverse staff, including, in this case, a Muslim woman who was assigned willingly to what we call work this bill. Believe me, it wasn't easy. At times, multiple times, the survival of this bill depended on one word. And whether or not we could negotiate acceptance of one word or whether we were willing to negotiate an alternative, one word. That's how challenging it was at times. A Muslim woman was working the bill. It's not a Muslim bill. This bill, quite the contrary, is sometimes, although exemplified, illustrated very well through discussion of religious practices that have specific clothing, grooming, where it would be easy to see, as I was alluding to earlier, that somebody would be told to get rid of their 12-step chip for a year of sobriety, which is a spiritual symbol, just because the prison system has a policy that says you can't have that piece of metal on your person. We don't know. We didn't know where those kind of policies would hurt or help someone. And in those kinds of rehabilitation practices, not only are folks urged to honor and worship and surrender their character flaws to a higher power, but it's clear that it's any higher power, and that it's so consistent with the Constitution of the United States that we can't let the system itself be at odds with itself. And I think that's what this bill in large part was a system that is encouraging rehabilitation and at the same time doing what you just heard from Sajjad. A system that's been at odds with itself and frankly beyond this bill continues to be, but we'll keep working on additional change. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for that comment.
Anything you would like to add, Ragini?
I think I pretty much touched on it. We'll continue to build upon this. We're seeing there's a rise in hate crimes as well, and this is just one step, and we'll continue to build.
Yeah, and like religion is, this thought is not just an article of clothing, it's something that's kind of connected to you as a soul, as a person, as a spirit, and it's not something that should ever be taken away for any religion. And I really thank Senator Cortese and Governor Newsom for this bill.
So thank you so much, and do keep looking out for more updates on Your India TV on all the different issues that Indian American communities at large face right here in the US of A. Thank you for your time.